All right, so far we've been able to use dynamic variables. We've been able to put together different things using templating, using Flask and Jinja 2. And now all we're gonna do for the next few minutes is talk about styling. So now that we've gotten something to actually appear on the screen, how do we make it look the way that we want it to look? So again, let's just get this back and up and running. So we're seeing something like hello images 1, and then we're seeing this. So let's say we want to make it look slightly different. So we're going to use something called CSS to do that. So that's cascading style sheets. Again, just like HTML, I'm not going to teach you the ins and outs of CSS, but I am going to teach you how to use it, given that you can do your own research and Google around. I'm going to teach you the syntax of how we can actually do that. So in index.html, we had our head here, and that is going to look something like this. And like I said before, we didn't modify the head before, but now is when we're going to do that. So let's go ahead and put a style block in here, and let's style the body. So a couple things, let's make some quick modifications. Let's find a different font that we want to use. So for example, instead of Times New Roman, let's use the Helvetica font. Let's make the font color white and make the background color black instead. Generally speaking, it's bad to use colors like this. You should be using hex keys. So let's just go ahead and do that right now. Oops, that is that is black. So F, like solid Fs means 15 each of red, green, and blue, which combine together to get white, and nothing combines together to get black. Font size is going to be 96 points. By the way, if that like red, green, and blue talk didn't make any sense to you, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. Let's make it a 96 font size, and then let's align the text to the right, and then let's just add some padding to the top just for fun. This EM is it's slightly different than pixels. So an EM is a standard unit based on the screen density. So if your screen is more dense, it's going to take up more pixels. If it's less dense, then it's going to take up less pixels. So it basically adjusts proportionally to the screen size. So let's see if these changes are picked up. Let's go ahead and run it and see what happens. Excellent. So let's actually open this up in our browser and see what happens here. So as you can see, it's right aligned. It's gigantic font. The picture is still there, and it's black. It's black background with white font, and there's a little bit of padding. As you can see, one EM is actually quite a bit of room. So there's one EM of padding on the top as well. Great. So is that it? Is that what we want to do for our styling? Well, we can do it this way, but just like we did with HTML, where we didn't want to write HTML right in Python, same here. We don't really want to clutter our HTML file with a bunch of CSS. That's a different language. It's just hard to read when you switch between like CSS and HTML. It's just kind of like jarring to read this kind of stuff. So just like we did before, let's make another file. This time we're going to make a style sheet, and then we can put all of these styles inside of there. So the syntax that we're going to do for that is, let me pull up a terminal. Let me clear this real quick. Let's go into our static folder, and then let's actually go ahead and make a new file. So we're going to make a file called style.css. It doesn't matter that it's called style.css. It can be anything.css. You just have to be consistent. For my case, I'm just going to call it style.css. Now I'm going to copy and paste all of this. I'm just going to take all of this and put it into style.css. And I'm going to clean this up a little bit. Perfect. Now we go back into our style sheet. We can get rid of our into our HTML. Now we can get rid of our styles because we're not doing styles inline, but we're going to link externally. So what we're going to do now is basically say this is an external link, and This rel just is saying what type of thing, what type of link this is. So this is a style sheet. And then let's give it a URL. Basically, this href just says where is the URL. And then this is where this is going to get interesting. So the file name is going to be style.css. But we have to say where this file name can be found. So what we're going to do is say something like URL for static, and then you can do a file name here, and then you end this by doing these double brackets that we're used to doing. And then of course you want to end your link block. So it's going to be an href where you find the URL for static, which is the name of the directory that it's in, and then within static you just find style.css. Now let's try running this. And we see the exact same thing. So this is the same way that we've done it for HTML. We just basically created a link externally and we said find the CSS from there and then just import that. So you might be asking, isn't there a simpler way to do this href? There is. So you can actually, if you want to, you can go and change this to like static/style.css. But the beauty of doing it this way is, let's say that you eventually move this whole directory. For whatever reason, you move static into templates, you move it somewhere else. This little command right here is going to find static wherever it is, and then it's going to use style.css. So it's a little bit more future-proof, it's a little bit more scalable. So I highly recommend you just use this URL for command, and it's just going to be a little bit faster for you to be able to find that. That's pretty much it when it comes to styling. You can do a lot of things when it comes to styling. Like CSS is a very, very powerful like style sheet that you can use, and you can do many, many things. We're not going to cover all of that in this class. Like there's just not enough time for me to cover all of that. And that's okay. I'm not gonna be like judging you too harshly on your styling. There are some points in all three projects for styling, but it's mostly just like do your best, try to figure it out. And if you need help, of course, we're here during office hours. We're here to help with that. But you can learn on your own by going to like w3schools.com/CSS. You can go to learnlayout.com. There's like some Codecademy links. You can refer to the slides and you'll be able to see them yourself. But now you have the essence of the things that you need to be able to do in order to build some static or even some small dynamic HTML sites. So if you want to build a page, you can go ahead and build it in HTML. You can build it with Flask using Python and serve with the Python backend. You serve it basically to HTML. You can then style it with CSS and draw different things on top of it. Basically, you can like align things very differently and stuff like that. And I've taught you the proper way to do things. So for example, using this href, using the URL for example, instead of doing it in line. We're using Flask, for example. We're going to pass in variables, etc. So with all of this being said, you should be able to start project 1 now. And if you have any questions about any of that, feel free to ask about it during office hours or anytime during class as well.